I want to just stick with the real estate issue because it is the biggest key priority in this budget. It is this housing crisis, and it is a nationwide problem. Joining me now from Halifax, Matt Honsberger, president of Royal LePage Atlantic. And Matt, $10 billion for affordable housing. It sounds like a ton of money, but realistically, it's about spending that money. And how will it help first-time homebuyers, in your opinion, looking in the next year or two?
Well, I'm pleased to hear the minister talk about how it is the first step in a long-term solution. The real problem that our industry faces right now, which is of concern and a significant challenge, is the amount of supply that's available. So there is no silver bullet, as she said, which is great. And it's a partnership between, obviously government initiatives and private industry that has to come together to create more supply and the right type of supply. We've really underestimated the desire of the millennial cohort over the last 10 years or so to enter into home ownership, and they're entering in droves, and there just hasn't been enough exiting on the other end of the spectrum to create enough supply.
And I think on that point, let's look at that $4 billion to update zoning permits. It's a complicated part of the puzzle, but how will the zoning permits change actually help getting houses built faster?
Well, one of the big pushes that we've been trying to make here with municipalities and the province in Nova Scotia is to just speed up the process. Developers want to put money into the ground right now. They are listening to the customer when it comes to what type of housing they're wanting to build. But we need to be responsive to that and help them build those houses more quickly. And if we can get supply created that way, then I think it becomes it creates attainability for the whole system.
You almost think of that post-World War II housing, whole neighborhoods that were nice, small houses that really delivered for mass numbers of people who were moving into the market, and whether or not it's time to look back on a model like that, if indeed there is the land to accomplish that.
Yeah, one of the big challenges that existed is that we're building apartments right now in a lot of ways in a lot of the parts of the country. And the pandemic has shown us that we don't necessarily want to live in apartments. As millennials turn 30, 31, 35, they're forming households with kids, and living in an 800 square foot apartment isn't really the desire anymore. So that's why we're seeing some of the spread to the other parts of the country. Certainly Nova Scotia, where I live, has benefited from that. And we're seeing that, just a desire for a different type of housing than the sort of dense, smaller housing focused in the urban core. And I think that really is a challenge that we'll have to overcome within private industry, is how do we convince them how do we convince private developers that what we need to build is housing for this sort of 25 to 40-year-old contingent that's coming through that they actually want to live in.
For real people. You mentioned Nova Scotia. It was interesting to me to see that the highest level of foreign ownership in this country is not British Columbia, who of course imposed that tax a few years ago, but it's Nova Scotia. So put in perspective for us the reality of foreign ownership. Do the percentages really suggest that a ban is going to change much when it comes to, as you say, getting young people into their first homes?
Well, here in Nova Scotia, foreign ownership generally means recreational properties, and that doesn't solve the problem of how do we house people who are looking to, with their families, buy their first home, or, move up as they're getting slightly larger, the growth in their family. So I really am reluctant to be very complimentary of that concept. I think that it's such a small portion of what happens in our markets that I don't see that having a big effect. And in fact, what it could potentially do is create sort of pent-up demand that once, say, we decide to lift this ban, all of a sudden that demand rushes back in, and maybe there is a little bit more competition. So usually we've seen that those kinds of limitations on markets does create that sort of that sort of pent-up demand, which doesn't benefit anyone in the long run.
Okay, Matt, thank you.